I miss you. I do miss you. Sorry.
Don't do that.
No, Ed, no, absolutely not. Let's not play this game. Don't try weaseling your way back in. Stop trying to make out like you're heartbroken now, all of a sudden. Sorry, but no one's buying it. Everyone's done with your crap.
You did tell me she had a really bad temper.
No.
And I wish you the best of luck.
No. I did
We
not
said that
say,
on-
don't you dare sit there and lie.
Yeah, this tell-all will literally have you shaking your fist at the screen. Because if you thought Big Ed was bad before, he really takes the biscuit today. And as for Liz, well, she claims to have moved on, but has she actually moved on? I don't know. But before we dive into that, let's rewind to the start. So the idea of all the cast members living under the same roof during the tell-all is the perfect recipe for drama. Like, you just know, you can be certain that with so many big characters and big egos, big personalities, there's gonna be fireworks at some stage. But when we join Liz on day one, you'd assume that everyone's on their best behaviour, right? Right?
Girl. Hi, you look so good.
I know. I got rid of like 230 pounds.
Yeah, you look
Yay!
It's immediately obvious as Liz walks in that this breakup was the best thing that's ever happened to her. She's glowing, she looks healthy, she's happy, and all of the rest of the cast definitely seem to be on her side, especially the women. Everyone's relieved that history didn't repeat itself. They didn't end up getting back together after filming ended.
The after breakup glow is unreal and you're like amazing. You really needed this. I do believe he's a bad person. He's ugly in and out, you know?
Yeah, Jasmine definitely didn't come to play. She has absolutely zero love for Ed. She's not here to pretend otherwise. Now, Liz reveals that it's been 6 months since she last saw Ed, and she just can't predict how she'll be when she sees him in person. But when Patrick admits that he was sure she and Ed would come in together arm in arm, all of a sudden, Liz doesn't quite seem so sure, so confident about their breakup.
I thought we would be here together, so yeah. No more though. Final breakup.
You sure?
Yeah. make that a double.
And like clockwork, Ed walks in. And he and Liz share what has to be the most awkward hug I've ever seen. Like, not only does he initially fist bump her shoulder like some kind of weird friend, but when they do eventually hug, it goes on for way too long.
Un abracito, algo, un besito. Yay.
Did you grow?
Yeah.
All of the cast are there like, what the f*** is going on here? That hug was way too intense. It went on for far too long. And to make matters worse, immediately after the hug, Ed then starts crying for no apparent reason. But get this, Liz starts tenderly wiping away his tears. Like, what on earth is going on?
I do not understand.
What happened to Liz's I've dropped 230 pounds and I've never been happier energy? It's crazy. It's like she's crumbling before our very eyes. And one thing is for sure, it's never been clearer that Ed is on a mission to try and get some pity tonight. Like, just look at him wallowing around as he sadly asks Ashley to just pour him a shot of anything, as if he's so heartbroken he can't even make up his mind what he wants to drink. But then he comes out with this.
I've been sick for like 8 days, like not contagious, but just allergies. And
Aw, diddums, allergies, aw, boo-hoo. Like, are you serious, Ed? This is the man that cancelled his wedding without telling his fiancé. Is he really trying to make us feel sorry for him because of his allergies? Now, thankfully, this seems to be enough to snap Liz back into reality. She rolls her eyes at him and she begins to berate him for coming in and trying his best to be the centre of attention. It's all about him, as always. Like, not once has he even asked her how she's doing. So, having just been told off by Liz, look at how Ed then responds.
I miss you. I do miss you. Sorry.
Don't do that.
Now, thankfully, Liz shoots down this conversation before it really starts. She's not prepared to entertain this nonsense, but the fact that she's clearly getting quite emotional, she's clearly fighting back the tears, is a bit of a worrying sign. It's the sort of sign that a man like Ed might seize upon, and Liz really doesn't help the situation when very shortly after, when Lauren and Alexi arrive, she finds herself slipping back into old ways.
Watch it be Lauren. Lauren. Baby, are you ready? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to call you that.
What'd you call me?
I accidentally called you baby.
Liz is rightly horrified at this slip-up, but make no mistake, Ed heard what she said. He immediately started to smile. He was desperate for her to repeat that, wasn't he? Like, don't get me wrong, I'm sure we've all had a slip of the tongue. I vividly remember when I called the teacher mum at school and I was teased about it for months. Like, I get it, we all sometimes make mistakes, but this seems very different. This is a stark reminder that feelings are still there. And if left unchecked, it would be very easy for them to revert back to old ways. Now, on that note, when we join them the next day at the studio for filming of the tell-all, Sean immediately dives in by asking them, how does it feel to be sat next to each other? Now, Liz explains that it's easier for her today than it felt yesterday, which is a big warning sign. But as for Ed, well, he doesn't hold back.
I mean, I was a puddle of tears. Not seeing you or speaking to you for 6 months, I was a mess. You know, I really didn't sleep last night.
The man's determined to play the pity card, isn't he? Like, where was this level of empathy, of emotion, when he ended things in the most brutal fashion without telling Liz? So why's he the one now claiming to be in a puddle of tears, no sleep? Yeah, sorry, Ed, but even if that were to be true, at this point no one cares anymore. We can all see through his bullshit, but it doesn't seem to stop him from trying. You see, when Liz reveals that she's moved back to San Diego and Ed confirms that he's stayed in Arkansas, he then comes out with the most random attempt to try and paint himself in a good light.
I'm actually back at church. I help usher on every Sunday. I'm not dating anybody.
Oh, f*** off, Ed. What, does he suddenly want us to forgive all of his misdeeds because he now volunteers at a church? Sorry, it's not gonna happen, and there was absolutely no need for him to bring that up. Now, Ed then goes on to say that right now, dating is the furthest thing from his mind, which almost feels like a subtle dig at Liz, who we all know is seeing someone new. And Liz doesn't like this. She isn't buying this holier-than-thou act that Ed is putting on. So she's all too happy to expose his lies.
You were on a dating app within 1 month of me leaving.
Oh.
You said that you wanted time to work on yourself. You wanted time to not date.
Oh, please, Liz, come on. We all know why he was so quick to jump on a dating app. Like, we all know by now that these empty promises that he spouts year after year that he wants to work on himself never actually amount to anything. It's all just hot air. But now that he's just been exposed, Ed isn't happy with Liz painting him out to be the bad guy. So he comes out with this.
It takes two to make a relationship. It takes two to break it, whether you admit it or not.
Yeah, his reaction to getting exposed for lying is to go back on the attack. to try and somehow deflect the blame from himself. It's not all my fault, he claims, it's her as well. Now, the thing is, what Ed is saying factually is correct. Two people are involved in a relationship. It takes two for the relationship to break down. But it's so much harder to feel any sympathy for him when he's constantly evading any accountability, any responsibility. Now, on that topic of the breakdown of their relationship, Sean wants to get to the bottom of what actually happened. So Liz begins to recount her version of events. She tells us about the spicy taco pasta incident. She informs us that the dish was not only too spicy for little Riley, but it was also a non-vegan dish, with Riley being vegan. And then she goes on to tell us how she only found out her own wedding was cancelled when her officiant sent her a text message. But as he's listening to this, Ed takes issue with everything that Liz is saying.
That's a joke. What you just said was a total lie.
What am I leaving
You
out?
are such a liar. I'm so sorry.
Ed calls Liz a liar, but crucially, he can't actually seem to explain what it is that he thinks she's lied about. I mean, he goes on this really long-winded story about how she's wrong, how he actually used peppers and not jalapenos in the spicy taco pasta, as if somehow that absolves him of blame. But, sensing that that excuse hasn't had the impact that he was hoping for, he then shifts tactics and tries to blame Liz for having anger problems.
You guys wonder why we broke up 15, 16 different times? It's because of her temper, not because of taco pasta.
Liz has an unhinged temper, he claims, as if he's the victim. Only, yet again, no one's buying this crap. Everyone can see this for what it is. Him deflecting and running away from responsibility.
All I hear you doing is projecting everything onto Liz. I can't change who you are. You did this. I have not heard one piece of accountability.
Ashley's spot on, but the thing is, this is just Ed. This is how he is all the time. Like, this isn't a surprise. This is a guy who can do no wrong in his own eyes. He's the kind of guy we've literally seen him push and push Liz to her limit, and then when he breaks her, he uses her reaction as an example of how she's the unhinged one. It's never his fault. And the proof of this, the perfect example of this, is when they show us never before aired footage of the aftermath of when Liz returned to pack her stuff.
Liz, go. Just go. Go. Go back to your trashy friends in San Diego. Be a bartender for the rest of your life.
He's got a small penis. There we go.
Oh,
So yes, Liz has humiliated little Ed, but that was because he pushed her to her limits. He was the one instigating the fight. He was demeaning her life, her friends back in San Diego. He was belittling and looking down at her occupation, as if he's somehow above earning an income as a bartender. And yet, when Liz inevitably snaps, somehow he's trying to make her out to be the bad guy. Now, it's at this point that Liz's mum is brought out onto the stage, and there's certainly no love lost between her and Ed.
I still want to kill him.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I opened my arms, my heart, my home, my family to this person.
Hilarious. Tell us how you really feel, Patty. I mean, you can't blame the lady. She's literally seen this man put her daughter through living hell. Now, there is one thing that Sean is desperate to clear up. Does Liz really have the wild temper that Ed has been telling us about? She asks. And Patty's answer is a little surprising. It's a bit mixed. You see, she admits that Liz can have a temper, but, she says, it's normally just triggered by Ed being an arse.
You did tell me she had a really bad temper,
No,
and I wish you the best of luck.
no, I did
We
not
said that
say,
on-
don't you dare sit there and lie.
Oh, Patty isn't putting up with any of Ed's today. Like, what Ed is attempting to do here, making out like Patty somehow went behind her own daughter's back to warn Ed about Liz, is remarkably manipulative. It's Machiavellian. Patty's just not gonna put up with that. She immediately shuts it down and says what she in fact told Ed was that Liz had only just come out of a long-term relationship when they first met. She warned them that they were going too fast. That was the only warning I ever gave him, she says. But somehow, remarkably, even after everything that's gone on, even with her mum clearly hating Ed's guts, there's a lot of murmurings amongst the cast, Angela in particular, that Liz is still in love with Ed. So is that true?
I will never deny my love that I've ever had for him. I'll never regret loving him or being in love with him because there is a version of him that nobody else knows or sees.
Now, for as tragic as this is, and it is tragic, let's not forget that only a matter of months ago, these two were set to be married. Liz came to this tell-all hoping to be the boss bitch, but that facade crumbled before our eyes the second she saw him. Yes, she still loves him. But, she says, I might love him, but I'm moving on. I have a new boyfriend, she reveals, and he's worlds apart from Ed. He's patient with me, he's loving, he's understanding about my emotional hang-ups. And you can clearly see how much this new man means to her. Look at how emotional she gets as she describes how he's been emotionally supporting her.
Because he just never tears me down. The sweetest thing that he said, even coming here today, was please get all the closure you need so you can heal and move on. And who does that?
Luckily, we don't just have to hear about this new guy. Liz's new boyfriend, Jason, now joins the stage, and we get to see everything that Liz has just been saying in person for ourselves. He begins by saying that all he wants is, after this tell-all, he wants Ed to be in their past. He wants Liz to be able to move forward. And then he turns his attention to Ed. It's very clear that he has little to no regard for Ed.
Starting today, you will never disrespect her again. Otherwise, you're gonna have to deal with me. And I stand on that.
There you go.
Good for you, Jason. And irritatingly enough, good for Ed too. You see, it might be irritating, but for the first time, Ed actually does the right thing. He shuts his mouth. He doesn't really bite back, at least not overtly. I mean, there is a little I wish you all the best of luck for the future, as if Jason needs all the luck that he can get, but that's it for now from Ed. So Sean then moves the conversation back to Liz's temper. Is what Ed's been saying about her temper true, she asks Jason.
We've had 1 or 2 arguments, it's not a big deal. But as far as like screaming or yelling, none of that.
Jason, don't sweep things under the rug.
Yeah, that's the second person now who's close to Liz and confirms that Ed has exaggerated the extent of Liz's anger issues. Ed should be ashamed of himself. He's tried to damage Liz's reputation. He's tried his best to paint her out to be this abusive monster, when in fact it's just not the case. But remember how I was praising him for taking the moral high ground a second ago? Well, it doesn't last too long, because Ed now feels the need to give Jason some unsolicited advice.
Just man to man,
Okay.
okay? If issues come up, I would deal with them.
And
I'm just
the
saying.
one sitting by himself is you.
Enough with the deal with her issues
Right.
because everybody has issues.
Exactly. Ed is sitting there rambling about Liz and her issues, making them out to be the reason why their marriage never worked, when the truth of the matter is that everyone has issues, everyone, especially Ed. So there's no need to single Liz out. And I think it says a lot about Jason's character that he chooses to direct the conversation to a much more positive place.
Well, I have a lot of love to give to her. Honestly, I've seen how she's been so depressed before, and I just don't ever want to see that with her. She literally completes me.
Maybe the silver lining from Liz's time with Ed is that she's now learned what she doesn't want in a man. She's managed to find and seems very happy with a man who seems to be the complete opposite of Ed. Jason seems patient, he's softly spoken, he's kind, he's empathetic, he's loving. He doesn't strike you as someone who wants to be the centre of attention all the time. Yeah, good luck, Liz. Honestly, after everything that she's been through with that vulgar man, hopefully she'll now be able to find true love.
I want a future with him.
Are you two planning on moving in together?
We are moving in a couple months.
Oh.
Ed's face as he's listening to that seems to give nothing away. Is he upset? Is he sad? Or, more than likely, were those tears from last night all just fake? Because from the looks of things, it looks like he feels absolutely nothing for Liz. And as they wrap up for the day, as Sean bids Patty a goodbye, Patty asks if she can say one more thing before she leaves. And boy, is it a doozy.
You're going to purgatory hell. Straight up.
Thank you.
I do not like you, but I do not hate you. I pity you. I really do.
Concise but accurate. Perfectly said, Patty. We don't hate Ed. We pity the guy.